They are racist. And they are terrorizing communities. They are sowing chaos and terrorizing communities. It has nothing to do with public safety. ICE's murder of Renee Good in broad daylight is horrific and unacceptable. She was an unarmed citizen driving on a residential street. The horrific actions of Renee Good, who was a wife and a mother and a poet and a concerned community member, which is why she was out there protesting in the first place. I've been calling for the abolishing of ICE.
I am so sick of this narrative. Renee was a mother. Renee was just an innocent poet. You know what? Uncle KC is a poet too. Matter of fact, I just wrote my latest poem earlier this morning. You want to hear it? There once was a network named MSNBC. It was filled with balding beauties like Joy Reid. Their ratings went down, causing their bosses to frown, and this turd became known as MS Now. According to Joy Reid 2.0 in that clip, the ICE agent who defended himself against the clear attack from Renee Good and her 4,000-pound vehicle, according to MSNBC, this ICE agent has been charged and convicted of mythical racism. What? Mythical racism? Has MS Now become so desperate for content? Has MS Now become so desperate for propaganda that they are now calling what is essentially white on white crime racist? I don't know about you guys, but I am sick of these doofus Democrats. According to their pretend friends in the mainstream media, over the weekend, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of peaceful protesters filled the streets of major cities across America to protest this injustice. They were holding hands, they were waving their rainbow flags as they were serenading each other with classic songs from the summer of woke love in 2020. I love you, you love me, my girlfriend's face is so hairy, her name is Stan, she identifies as a man, get ICE out of our Somalian homeland. If you were to believe the mainstream media, which judging by their trustability ratings, most people don't, if you spend too much time on social media, you would think that this anti-American, anti-ICE movement involves half the country. I receive emails from concerned viewers all the time who are worried that we've basically lost half the country. Worried that Tim Walz and his army of tampons will start another civil war. For starters, social media is not real. Social media is not real life. Most of the activity that you see on social media is automated, meaning it's bots. And an abundance of the content, it comes from a very small group of woke white women and lonely men. Lonely men like that dude, Bob Krasenstein, some dork in his 40s who has the voice of a prepubescent boy. I have heard more bass coming from the voice of my 8-year-old nephew. These woke white women and lonely men, they go on social media along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media, and they want you to believe that the vast majority of the country is anti-ICE. Hollywood, which we will be talking about later today here on the main channel, Hollywood is trying to convince you that you're on the wrong side if you support the brave men and the brave women who are risking their lives for you. Over the weekend, so-called grassroots protests were suddenly organized out of nowhere in major cities across America. It's just amazing to me how hardworking men and women, it's amazing how fellow parents who are busy raising families, it's amazing how they come together in the span of 24, 48 hours and produce heavily organized protests all over the country. Doofus Democrats want you to believe that hundreds of thousands of people were peacefully protesting this weekend. While normal people were watching the NFL playoffs, these brave men and women, they were sacrificing their time fighting the good fight. They were standing up for the rights of their Somalian brothers and sisters to enter the country illegally. I have seen several estimates from the media as to the size of the crowds. Every estimate I have seen has a comma in the number representing thousands of people. But based on the footage I'm about to show you, it appears that a lot of these crowd sizes can be counted by the dozens. Hell, in some cases, the size of the crowd, it can be counted on one hand. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. I want to take a second here to thank all of you guys who have reached out over the last week or so asking about my oldest Yorkie, Chewy. For those that don't know, Chew has been very sick. Last week, we took her to a specialist, and the doctors told us that she likely has cancer in her mouth. Yesterday was absolutely brutal. She was not doing well yesterday. I was very, very close yesterday to having to make a decision that I was not ready to make. I'm so glad that I waited, though, because we got a call from the oncologist first thing this morning. And early testing is showing that it's less likely to be cancer and more likely to be an infection. We're not in the clear just yet, but at least now we do have some hope. Last night, I got this picture of Oreo basically taking care of Chew. It was almost like she was letting Chew know that she was still there and wasn't going anywhere. Man, dogs are smart. Oreo has always been attached to Chewy. Chew is 8 years older, so she's basically like Oreo's mother. But watching them interact with Chew being sick, it's just amazing how much Oreo knows. But anyway, I appreciate your prayers. Hopefully, this is going to get resolved in the way we want it to get resolved. I'll keep you guys posted. According to CNN, over 1,000 demonstrations were held this weekend demanding the abolishment of ICE. The mainstream media is completely useless, but if there's one thing they excel at, it's using the English language to find words to describe something without properly describing something. Here on the channel, we call it polishing the turd, and the media is absolutely brilliant when it comes to polishing the turd. For example, CNN is referring to these anti-American protests as peaceful demonstrations, when the reality is this was not a protest, this was a work event, because a lot of these people, they were paid to be there. Credit to Eric Daughtry for this video. Watch it for yourself.
I am representing myself, and I am representing the folks at Rise and Resist who have been trained
so Rise
to
and
be
Resist.
marshals.
How much do they pay you to wear this vest?
Absolutely nothing.
And the woman trying to stop my interview is named Karen Shaw. She is a professional protester. I found her at almost 100 different protests. Let's look at her portfolio, shall we? Here's her outside Trump Tower saying TikTok time's up. Here's her saying ban guns, not drag. Amazing. This is her telling us that lies have consequences. She is also very passionate about abortion. Even in the video right now, she's just wearing a hat that says abortion on it. Sometimes she gets less creative though and just holds a sign that says enough. Now here I found her working with a different professional protester that I've exposed. This is Stuart Waldman. He was there when they raised the Palestinian flag over City Hall in Rhode Island.
This is why I said earlier, none of this is real. These people are professional agitators. They are being paid to create an illusion. That's why you rarely see normal people at these protests. Think about it. There have been hundreds, maybe even thousands of protests in the last 5 or 6 years. In the vast majority of cases, the protesters are all the same. Blue-haired Claire, Jean the drag queen, Chad Thundercock in his tuck-friendly bathing suit, woke white women trying to dismantle the patriarchy. The only thing that changes is the cause, the uniforms. One week it's Palestinian flags. The next week it's rainbow flags. One week it's anti-ICE. The next week it's anti-fascist. But it's always the same people, and it's always anti. They're never for anything. They're always protesting against something. According to the media, thousands of average Americans sacrifice their weekend to honor the memory of an innocent mother. Thousands of Americans decided not to watch the NFL playoffs so they could mourn the loss of a great American poet. Last night, I compiled footage from these mass gatherings of American patriots. I found footage from Seattle, Chicago, Indiana. You tell me if this looks like thousands of people. Watch it for yourself.
United! The people!
It's an illusion. None of this is real. For starters, the average American isn't worried about ICE deporting illegal immigrants. The average American is worried about raising their family. They're worried about not being able to afford a home. They don't have time to worry about a grown woman who intentionally put herself in a dangerous situation. There was a simple solution to this problem. If Renee Good didn't want to be in a dangerous situation, all she had to do was stay home. Have you ever wondered why you rarely see normal people protesting? Have you ever wondered why it's always doofus Democrats protesting? Normal people do not have the luxury of spending a Wednesday afternoon interfering with a federal investigation because normal people are working. Ironically enough, their tax dollars are being used to support a lot of these woke white women who are protesting. This is why I keep saying, besides political Islam, woke white women are one of the biggest threats to America. Woke white women have been brainwashed. They have been indoctrinated. They claim to be independent. I'm a women independent. Why are you so unhappy? They claim to be fighting the patriarchy. They claim, I don't need no man. They refer to masculine leadership as toxic masculinity. They criticize women who get married. They criticize women who have children. They criticize women who follow their husband's lead. When the reality is, these woke white women, they are being led and they don't even realize it. But instead of being led by a loving husband, they're being led by a movement. They are being led by the woke fungus, which, as you guys know, the woke fungus has one purpose: seek and destroy. It's not a coincidence that woke white women are constantly angry. It's not a coincidence that they live in a constant state of bitterness. They have been convinced to defy biology. They have been convinced to defy natural gender roles. They're living aimlessly. They don't have a purpose. They have no direction. And when you don't have a purpose, misery often steps in to fill that void. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.